Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976 allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, education, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing non-profit educational or personal use. Tips the balance in favor of fair use.
Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the DevasiaMentality plays the demo for Freedom Planet 2.
Yeah, it's
Huzzah!
highly
It's
anticipated.
Highly anticipated indeed.
Oh yes.
For most people.
Hey,
I'll
hey,
be honest.
hey.
No, we'll get into this as we go along, but I suppose now's as good a time as any to let the cat out of the bag regarding the issue of the incomplete Freedom Planet Let's Play. First of all, yes, we do intend to go back and start that over from the beginning again. But anyway,
Later.
Later.
We'll do this first.
Let's just do this first, yeah. Since it's right here in front of our eyes, the demo for the new game, the upcoming game, the more mature-looking game. Wow. These barely look anything like Sonic characters anymore.
What they do to Nera's titties?
What?
Actually, I think that, you know, it was
Yeah.
mainly originally her sprite work. I guess you didn't see it, but
I don't
her
pay
sprite work
attention.
originally had particularly emphasized breasts, but
Well, now her sprite work has particularly emphasized stockings.
well, I guess that we should basically play as Lilac first, which means you're up.
Okay, so, here we go. Lilac the Dragon Girl, the Sonic, the cats that are outside the room having a fit. For all I know, she plays exactly the same item set. Auto-guarding. This is very weird how they're changing item sets with the difficulty. I'm just gonna go with normal. Thank you very much. Dragon Valley. Can never get away from that place, can we?
Well, let's get into it. I think,
Nice.
you know, starting off here, I will say the sprite work is very nice. However, I think Lilac's looks a little bit mega emotionless in those eyes there.
Huh. Okay. She still runs pretty fast. That's good to know. Goes up slopes. Oh, fucker. Her attacks are slightly different. She can still do the Shoryuken. She still does that. Dragon boosts.
If anything, so far, Lilac basically plays most the same out of all the characters.
And I appreciate that because she was my personal favorite in the first Freedom Planet. So I'm glad that carries over.
The other characters play relatively similarly, though Mila is almost totally changed.
Oh! I can do this in midair now. That's pretty darn good. And, you know, the new art style is something that I can understand might be a point of contention going forward. Because the way I see it, it's very similar to how, like, Mega Man Zero changed the art style from the way it was in Mega Man X, and it was kind of alienating to fans of the series going from X to Zero and everything looking completely different. But Zero's art style, to me personally, Zero's art style was one that I grew to appreciate a lot more, even though I'm pretty sure Victor here has some points of contention about it, which I will agree are...
They don't look like they're wearing armor. They look like they're wearing shitty spandex.
Well, it's not like they don't have armor. It's that They replaced one of the more significant pieces of armor on most Mega Man characters with a vest.
A very lame-looking vest at that.
But this one, I see like character maturity and whatnot with the art style, and I appreciate it in that sense. I just don't, you know, it kind of draws away from its very Sonic-y, fan-gamey roots, which, you know, I don't mind, but, you know, there are a lot of people who got into Freedom Planet for the sake of it being like a Sonic clone of sorts. Oh, God, there are more of these tracker fuckers. What the hell was that went out of there?
That's just what the new ghosts look like? I don't know. Originally, it was those little green things, right?
Yeah, I remember that. I'm guessing this game has nothing to do with Brevin.
Brevin was a really good villain, though. I wonder if this new what is she, a lizard? This new character, I forgot the name of the new villain. They actually named him, and
we'll find out later when this game comes out in full.
Well, they gave a name for the villain in like the early previews. I just can't remember it right now. Because I got poor memory. Don't want to. Whatever.
And to be honest, I've not really been following Freedom Planet 2 project at all, really.
To an extent, I think it would probably spoil it for me if I did. I've had a lot of situations where I like followed something and just kind of, you know, I don't necessarily agree with some of the things that these developers have done, but I think that they will still.
Yeah, that's kind of the sticking
point.
I'm going to say this up front. It's a bit of a sticking point as to why I'm not immediately jumping on getting back into Freedom Planet, because I have to address this eventually. I do not like what they've done with the removal and edits to the story mode since the original version of the game. Like, I get sales-wise why they did it, especially for getting it on a Nintendo console, but as an artist, I think you are ruining your own personal integrity by doing something like that. You know, you don't want to be called the next George Lucas, do ya?
The George Lucas of video games?
And to be fair, that's also one of the things that I held in high praise for Freedom Planet, is that, for all intents and purposes, the story mode was ultimately and entirely ignorable. And I like that. Like, if you didn't like the story, you didn't have to care about some of its smaller, less developed or poorly thought out nuances, because you could ignore it. You didn't even have to acknowledge the story at all. I mean, I'll grant that doesn't mean the story should be entirely exempt from critique, but I also think that you should at least uphold what you've done and try to maintain it instead of trying to remove or change it to better fit your own personal vision of a better form of the thing. Like, maybe if you were doing a director's cut version of the game, sure, but if you're taking the original game and doing updates where you're literally just ripping the original content out, never to be seen again, that's different. And I think I don't care for the update. I just do not care for you updating your game in a way where that kind of stuff is just gone forever now.
You know, it's as I may have said in previous videos where we mentioned this, you should take note of and learn from your mistakes. You shouldn't try to get rid of them. Just like from an artistic standpoint, I think it's positively ridiculous and says a lot about your character that you'd want to do that. And what it says about your character is not good.
And I say this as a fellow artist. both as of multiple forms. It's just kind of sad. I feel like the gigolo of archetypes. Like, practitioner of so many, master of none.
And that was Lilac's gameplay. I guess it's
We talked so little about the gameplay and more about the developers and how I just don't support their ideals for this for storytelling in the series. I'm glad that the gameplay is still intact, and that's still something about both the original Freedom Planet and this that I think are pretty damn solid. It's just everything else.
I'm hoping that they will still give us... You know, I actually enjoyed the story to a relative extent. Did they remove the whole... Did they remove the whole, which scene was it? The one where they were watching TV? Did they remove that?
I don't know. I think they shortened that scene and the scene after it, but I don't know if they got rid of it entirely.
Because that was actually one of my favorite parts of the game.
Yeah. And now on to Carol.
A lot of people say negative things about the voice acting in the previous game, but personally, I liked everyone's performance in the previous game. The only point of contention I ever had with it was that some people seem to have, you know, lesser mics than others.
Like lesser quality, lower overall microphone quality.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure, like...
it's not something that I noticed too terribly much among
there were a few people who had, like, studio quality stuff, and then there was a lot of people who were kind of, like, in the middle, and then there was a few that were kind of bad in terms of quality. It seems like actually over time, one of the changes they did make, which I can kind of approve of, is that they did redo some of the lines on better microphones, I think, for some of the characters. I'm not 100% sure about that, though.
I'm pretty sure everyone here has gotten their lines retaken their lines for the most part. Because all the voice actresses do sound just a little bit more mature. And this is Carol, which we didn't actually get to show off during our initial canceled Let's Play because I couldn't get past Lilac stuff. This is a weird way of doing bonuses, but I can't complain too much. And she still has her motorcycle.
And it seems like when she gets her motorcycle in this, it's perpetual.
Well, it kind of always was. It took a lot of damage before it would go away in the original game. But I'm sure we'll get to that when we get to it.
Oh, and this demo does have glitches. Unfortunately, I don't think I'll be able to show them off because A, I'm really bad at games, and I'm really bad.
Well, the original game wasn't glitch-free itself.
And I don't think that having a few glitches in your game is necessarily a bad thing. It's not like any of these glitches that I'm even describing for this demo, or I was about to describe. I flew through a wall here. I think it was here or somewhere later.
She still does that look on her face when she's hanging from a pole and got the bike.
Well, you know, that's something I like about... I like Carol sprites a lot here. I think they did Carol sprites especially well. I don't think that they did Lilac's very well, though, actually, which I find kind of interesting, given that Lilac is kind of the main character of this group.
In essence.
I feel like Lilac's idle animation just has way too... Her eyes just look freaking soulless.
What the... Okay.
Ah, there's a glitch. Very minor, but...
It's kind of hard to tell, but I do think these new sprites are at least partially based on the old sprites.
Recycling, oh no! You can really tell it's me who's playing there. I'm bad at video games, so what are you gonna do about it?
Well, maybe we'll see more of this when we actually get to the original full Freedom Planet Let's Play. Let's replay or something. I don't know.
What do you think of the zoom out thing?
I don't hate it. It's okay. It kind of reminds me of Sonic CD in a sense, the way the camera would pull back when he was going at high speeds. Although I'm not quite sure what the whole camera panning out for this really amounts to. Right. Shield system has been replaced. It's still a shield, but now the shield is represented by the little Navi ball.
Oh, Navi ball? We've taken influence from even more video games now. Oh.
Hey, more power to them if they can come up with new and different ways to represent things that are otherwise pretty much the same, all things considered. Oh, there's this here. Alright, boss alert. How do you feel about this as, like, a potential first boss of the game? This kind of seems like halfway's mishmash of the first two bosses of the original game. Because it's like it's got a lot of moves similar to the gigantic robo slicer thing.
Yeah. It's also got a move that was reused by a couple of different bosses. This one. That always gets me.
Yeah.
I'm getting PTSD of the Brevin boss fight.
Yeah, for what is potentially the first boss of this game, this kind of seems like a, shall we say, Lost Levels Master Quest style boss. Like, what the heck?
Doing push-ups.
No, you're not. Stop that. Get on with it! Yeah. Anyway. And that was Carol T. So, who's next? Mila.
Well,
we never even came close to really showing her off in the original game. I guess you're handing the control over to me.
Yeah, I am.
Mila the Hound.
Mainly because
her control style in this game is almost not even remotely the same.
She's completely different in this game from how she was in the previous game.
Yeah. Like, we didn't get into it in the original game, and I don't know what entirely to make of her new clothes. It's a lot more practical and sensible than her original outfit, which I couldn't wrap my head around for the life of me. And she still has her ability to dig into the ground, but
it's not functional for the
demo. It's
demo.
not functional for the demo, and I don't like that she won't stop. You have to wait until she slows down. Also, and now she doesn't have to carry that, her thingy cube around anymore. She just press the guard button and it summons. And then you can...
She's kind of a hybrid of herself and, Torque, in that sense, because he was a shooting character in the original game.
And it's very likely that we're not going to see Torque in this game, since he's gone back into outer space.
Yeah, no loose ends there. Brevin was defeated and Torque left.
As far as we know, he was defeated. Well, yeah, he was defeated, but he wasn't... We don't know that he was killed. I wish he was! Oh, and she can still do the flutter jump.
Yep. Still a big floppy-eared dog that can sort of kind of fly like a certain rabbit you may or may not know. She's actually really bad at flying. So...
I do like that. She can... A lot of the moves that they managed to improve for her, she can now do the whole Mega Man Buster thing. And she can either do what she did before and go... And that can still sort of push you around. But I like now that she can actually, like... do that. don't like these fuckers. I also like that she's got a full health bar now instead of the half of one she had in the original game.
It's not really practical to fight these fuckers.
No. Not practical to fight many enemies in these games, simply because it's easier to just run on by. Like, if this were Mega Man, like this, I think that's kind of one of the problems of these games, is that they do try to meet a halfway point between a high-speed platformer and an action platformer, but I think it's, by design, the game is more designed around the high-speed elements than anything.
It's unfortunate. In most cases, yeah.
And I thought it was handled a lot better in the first game because there were fewer characters with better balance. Here we've now got 4 characters, and it's very difficult for me to say anything particularly flows the same way as it did before. Like, Mila is... Some people would say Mila's moveset is an improvement. I kind of like the technical style she had in the original game that made her a little bit more tricky to do certain things with. But otherwise, she was a pretty damn good speedrunner when you put things down to it. And I mean, she still is if you know the trick. But it feels like they focused more on making sure everyone had slightly more even capabilities in terms of the overall game than it was to push some of their more unique elements.
Yes.
I mean, there is still some of that, but overall, I just feel like this game was more... So far, based on what I'm getting from this demo, the game is more focused on making sure that everyone is up to the same speed.
Yeah, and here I am again. I'm kind of shallow when it comes to video games, I suppose, because one thing I'll say is that the primary reason I bought Owlboy was because Owlboy looked really fucking good, and it looks really fucking good. And again, that's going to carry over into me looking at this game. I like how things look when it comes to 16-bit, 8-bit, or you know, old-fashioned bit-style games. Sometimes it's like pixels. And I think the character art for this so far is really well done. A lot better than the previous game. However, I'm still seeing Mila looks good, Carol looks good, and from what I've seen of Nira, she looks good too, but Mila doesn't. In my opinion, Mila's character...
Mila was actually kind of had the weakest of the sprites, even in the original game. Like, they went through, like, multiple different retakes on how she was supposed to look, from what I recall.
Almost makes me wonder...
Like, her detail was hard for them to really get down.
Almost makes me wonder if they mistreat her because she's probably the most embarrassing character by her original design.
I'm trying to even remember what her original
She
design
was originally a dragon hog.
I thought that was Lilac.
Or, yeah, sorry, I misdid my names. I'm sorry. I've been talking about Lilac this whole time. Lilac, I think, is mistreated possibly because of her origins, but, you know, that's just me throwing shit around.
And if I recall correctly, Mila herself was also a bunny, rather than a dog. Or maybe I get that. I don't know. It's hard for me to remember. I saw the original art for these characters and the character designer.
No, that's just cute.
And you know what? The thing is, it was a person. It was from a person. If I could remember their name, it was someone that I met at the Team Artile Okaki before that site shut down ages ago.
Ages ago. Oh, right.
Moving on, we got one more character to show off.
And I'm being trusted with this. Oh boy!
Well, I don't know what to make of her.
Nira
honestly.
Lee is the technical fighter.
Yeah, she's got.
And I don't know if her whole
Oh.
ice sprint thing has
Ice-
any actual effect.
Yeah. She can do its sort of Mega Man thing with the ice thing. Just sort of stand there and hold the button. It's kind of short range, but
Oh boy.
also, if I recall correctly, she has this with her special attack. She can press up, and it'll be like an upwards super blast attack. Her up special.
Ooh. That might help with the boss.
Yeah. I mean, the only reason I even knew
moveset
that
is a
this
lot
demo
more-
was out was because we watched Some Call Me Johnny's.
Her moveset is more complicated than the others.
It's actually just not. I would argue that it's not as complicated as the others. It's very basic, and that I think kind of holds it against her. She doesn't have very much in the way of a dynamic moveset. I mean, she has a double jump. Okay. She can do this up attack. Okay. She can do the ice gun blast thing. Alright.
I don't
And
know.
then there's
does
her
this
special-
do damage? I'm
Her special
wondering.
move that I just... Her special move is kind of technical, but it's also very limiting. Because what she does is she turns enemies into ice blocks.
Ow. Also, hey,
Enemy-
One thing I'm noticing is this is very much actually a health bar. It's not just flat points. It's a health bar.
Yeah, the flower points, the petals, actually have chunks even taken out of them.
Interesting.
Little tiny chunks.
I think she can do a downward slam as well if you do it right. Yeah, and it's not that great, to be honest. I can't remember if we even actually got to her boss fight in the original Let's Play. No, we did. We did. I think only just. It'll be interesting to just go back to that. There's a lot of Let's Plays I feel like we should get to work on this year. Because I still gotta finish the Sonic Marathon.
Yeah.
And I should have done it last year, but we should have done one Tomb Raider game at the very least. Because it was
Didn't
the
get around
anniversary.
to it.
Get around to it, but you know.
Well, they also wasn't last year that they released the newest Tomb Raider game anyway.
Yeah, I
Would have
think
played
so.
that, but I just hadn't had much interest at the time.
It's been very difficult trying to get much interest in doing anything at all lately with the way things have been going, which
Yeah.
we'll not delve into right now, but things are rather difficult right now, and you know, the only thing I can think of when I see her ice skating maneuver like that is Shadow the Hedgehog.
Oh, boy. Now I have to beat the boss. This shit.
Yeah, even I had trouble doing this with her. Even with that extra maneuver, it's just not good. Also, she can jump while you're doing the ice attack thing. Long-range ice attack.
Oh, goodness. Just missed that quick.
Okay. I didn't know it was that late.
Sorry, that was just my alarm.
I remember. Yeah, she can jump while she's doing that. If you get her started.
Huh?
I never did that. How do you do that?
This seems to be...
Just double tapping it?
Yeah.
Okay. What triggers that? Is it when a certain amount of health is down, or is it...
Every time you go through one of its bars.
Okay. I was wondering if that was a pattern, or it was just a case of it doing it when it lost enough health.
There, I got it. I really figured I'd probably lose that one.
You fought well. Too bad you're on the wrong side.
And that was the whole demo.
Yeah, that's pretty much the entirety of the demo so far, and
I think it's pretty
it looks
good.
very promising at the very least. I like the new art style, even though I'm pretty sure it might be a point of contention for some people. The controls, they're pretty much off the stuff, given that this is on a new engine.
Well, we did have to change the controls, but yeah.
Well, once we get the controls switched around. But, you know, once everything's in order, it's pretty good.
Yeah. Pretty
I think
good.
this is, there's some promise here. I just hope that the creators don't,
You know,
screw this up by doing some unnecessary editing.
nope, they didn't do any crazy stuff with this.
No, that's kind of unfortunate. Anyway, no one's dizzy.
I like that.
Maybe they will do it.
Maybe
once
they'll bring it back.
Gets brought back. Yeah. Anyway.
But yeah, liking this so far. Liking
Mhm.
this a lot so far.
So, that was the Freedom Planet 2 demo. If you want to try it out for yourself, I'll leave a link in the description below. And ask that everyone please... Well, maybe not. Yeah, you know what? Go ahead and support this game if you want to. I'm gonna play this once this comes out. I'm still iffy about the...
Not much of a pre-order type of person.
No, me neither. I'm not gonna pre-order this either. But when it comes out, and I know that it comes out, we will do a Let's Play of it. Assuming we get the first Freedom Planet done first. And I do want to support this game. I just hope that the creators don't trample over things here the same way they've done in the previous game. Like, again, as an artist, I feel like you should stand up for what you've done. If you wanted to do a director's cut, that would be different. But you've gone back and basically made it a game update to edit this shit out. And I don't appreciate that. So, I hope that going forward, you learn from this.
It's part of artistic integrity. You're supposed to learn, not change what you've done. Imagine if Leonardo da Vinci went back and changed the Mona Lisa.
The Mona Lisa?
I completely get that wrong, didn't I? My brain is pretty fucked right now.
I'm not even sure either.
Wow, we're pretty... Look at these two uncultured dumbasses. We don't even know what we're talking about.
But hey, we can sure talk.
Imagine if Van Gogh went back and redid those flowers. Those sunflowers they like so much. Imagine if any great artist went back and redid some painting of theirs because they were unhappy with it, okay? Okay?
Yeah.
It's not right.
Yeah. there's a lot of stuff out there that I've done that I'm not proud of one way or another. Like a lot of my old Let's Plays, some of the art, some of the drawn art that I've done in passing. But I don't want that to just... I'm not going to look back at that and say, go away, change, be different. No. I look back at it, learn from what I've done wrong, and try to make it right going forward. And I want that to be the same attitude that every artist in any given medium continues to strive for. Don't be George Lucas!
Oh, we gotta change Anakin Skywalker. Gotta put in a guy from the new movies.
But anyway, I think that's enough for now. So, again, thank you absolutely everyone for watching. Remember, RCFS.
That's rate, favorite, comment, and subscribe.
And out.